Have you ever created a card that feels like opening a door into another little world? For my Altenew Fan Group Takeover, you voted between two themes: Tiny World, Big Story, and The Door to Another Season. The winning theme was The Door to Another Season. So today, I'm creating an interactive trifold card called Beyond the Clouds, where soft, cloudy, igloo-inspired doorway opens to reveal a sweeter season waiting inside. Avenue is also generously sponsoring a gift certificate for one lucky winner, so keep watching for the challenge details later in the video. Hi friends, Mehnaz here. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I already did a little prep off camera. I have already die-cut the Birdhouse A, Bird D, Bird C, and the branches and leaves from the Craft Your Life project kit Whispers in the Canopy. This is such a gorgeous and versatile kit. It includes a beautiful large silhouette stamp set, an embossing folder, and a coordinating layering stencil set, which gives you so many creative possibilities. From the Feathered Beauty layering die set, I also die cut the leaves and flowers from white cardstock. For this card, I wanted to combine these sweet nature elements to help bring my door to another season scene to life, with little details that peek through the doorway and create a soft storybook feeling. For the door, I have used the arched doors layering die set, and I have die cut the solid door twice from vellum, and then the window door 3 times from white cardstock. I also die cut a little handle from the brushed gold cardstock for a touch of shine. I wanted to open and close the door from the middle, so I prepared 2 small hinge pieces from white cardstock, each measuring half by 2.5 inches. This will help create an interactive opening for our doorway. I also die cut the solid door from the center of an A2 panel, and I have 2 A2 card bases already prepared for our card. Now we need to die cut the door opening through one side of the card base. To make sure everything is perfectly aligned, I rolled small pieces of masking tape onto themselves and used them to temporarily stick the door cut panel onto the front of one A2 card base. Then I placed the solid door die back into the opening of the A2 panel where it naturally locks into place. Once it was aligned, I taped down the die, opened the card base and run it through the die cutting machine. This way, we now have a card base with the door opening that matches perfectly with our front A2 panel. To create the stonewall effect, I used the stonewall stencil and ink blended with the Tranquility Fresh Dye ink bundle. I forgot to record the shimmer paste part, but after ink blending, I used my fingertips to add pearl shimmer relief paste only at the top of each stone to mimic soft snow. I wanted a winter stone wall look, but my husband said it was looking like an igloo, so now I can see it too. For the coloring, I kept the ink blending simple on all my die cuts. I have listed the ink bundles used for each element on the screen, so I'll let you enjoy this part with some music. Now that all our die cuts are colored, it's time for the assembly. One thing I absolutely love about these dies is the keyhole system. It makes putting all these tiny pieces together so easy and stress-free. The birdhouse has 4 different guides: the triangle, the arrow, the keyhole, and the T-shapes. And they are incredibly helpful for showing exactly where each piece goes. It really takes the guesswork out of layering and makes the whole assembly process quick, smooth, and so enjoyable. In no time, the birdhouse and all the other little elements come together beautifully. We now have all our little die cut assembled, and also our shimmer relief piece is dried. Look at this, how beautiful. Next, we are creating the hinge for our door. I scored each hinge at 1/4 inch along the 3/4 inch side. Because we are using vellum for the door, I wanted to make sure the hinge stays hidden behind the window frame, which is quite slim. This little score line will help the door open and close neatly without the hinge showing too much. This part can be a little tricky, but trust me, it is so worth it. I just love how this hinge system allows the door to open from the middle, giving the card such a fun and interactive feel. Now, I'm doubling the window frame by gluing one white die cut behind each colored frame. So in total, we have 4 sturdy frames. Once that's done, I glued one frame onto the vellum door. Then, using my trimmer, I cut the vellum door in half and then glued another frame onto the second piece. I repeat this step for both of the vellum. So now we have 4 framed pieces in total, and later we will glue them back to back, sandwiching the hinge between to create our opening door. Now it's time to create our interactive element. For the 2 scored hinge pieces, I added strong liquid glue only on the slim inner section of the hinge, close to the score line. I made sure not to add glue over the fold itself because we still want the hinge to move freely. Then I placed one hinge behind the first door frame, lining it up neatly along the straight inside edge of the door. I repeated the same thing for the second door, but on the opposite side. So one hinge is attached to the left door and the other is attached to the right door. Once the hinges were in place, I glued the remaining frames behind them, sandwiching the hinges between the 2 layers of frame. This hides the hinge nicely and gives the door a clean and finished look from both sides. So now, when the doors open and close, the hinge stays hidden and the volume is supported. And we can still see the beautiful colored window frame from both the front and the back. To attach the door to our stone wall panel, I added liquid glue to the large part of the hinge, the section facing the camera. This is important because we want the doors to open outward towards the stone wall side. Then I carefully placed each door into the opening, making sure everything was aligned, and glued the hinge behind the stone wall panel. Repeated the same step on both sides, so now we have the 2 door panels sit neatly in the opening and can open and close from the middle. To decorate the inside of the card, I masked the scoreline on the other A2 card base and inked blended the full front panel. For this part, the card base opens to the right instead of the left because we are creating a trifold card. Then I arranged the little birdhouse branches and leaves, making sure some of the elements peek through the door opening. You We noticed that the inside of my first card base with the door cut out was also blue, but I didn't really like it how it was looking. So I prepared another card base and kept the inside white for a cleaner finish. Then I glued the stone wall panel onto the front card base with the door cut out, making sure both openings were well aligned. This way, when the door opens, everything looks neat and we get a beautiful peek inside the card. To create the trifold card, I added glue to the back of the decorated card base, then adhered it inside the door card base. It's time for the sentiment, and for this card, I wanted something custom and personal. So I handwrote my own sentiment along the arched doorway on the inside of the card, saying, sending a little reminder that even cloudy days can lead to something beautiful. Then, for the front of the card, I wrote, beyond clouds, beauty awaits. I felt these sentiments matched the story of the card perfectly with with the cloudy winter door opening into a softer, brighter season. I then foam mounted the front sentiment in the middle of the door. I added foam tape only on the left side of the sentiment so the right door can tuck gently behind it. This way, the sentiment not only finishes the front card but also acts as a little locking mechanism to keep the door closed. And here is the final look of our card for today's takeover. I really love how this card turned out. The front has a soft, wintry feel with the stone wall, or maybe an igloo-inspired look, as my husband pointed out, which actually makes it even more charming. When the little door opens, it reveals a warmer, sweeter scene with birds, branches, and birdhouse, like a hidden season waiting on the other side. That is why I named this card Beyond the Clouds, a little reminder that even cloudy days can lead to something beautiful. Now it's your turn. Create a card inspired by the door to another season theme. Share it in the Altenew Fan Group. Tag me and use the hashtag on the screen for a chance to win a $15 Altenew gift certificate. I can't wait to see your creations. And yeah, don't forget to name your card too. I hope you enjoyed my takeover over there, Altenew Fan Group. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this card. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more handmade card inspiration. I'm also popping up some more videos here so you can check them out next. Until next time, from my desk to yours, happy crafting!